Welcome to the show. I am your happy healer. Go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I am your happy healer for President Keith Landy. The time now is 9 p.m. We have people watching from all over the world like Nancy, and we have people watching directly right here in the United States. Because I have been the happy healer for the last many years, and guess what? We bring with us a vibrant community of people who love. And so always keep that in mind about your happy healer. And also remember, that makes me more qualified, not less qualified, to be your next president of the United States of America. So welcome on this June 2nd, 2019. I'm super excited for a great show, and this is it.
Awesome. So we're going to get right into today's program. And awesome. So we're going to get right into today's program. Welcome. This is live. I'm experimenting with my opening a bit, and today I did that where it was pre-recorded, but we are live right now. And I think that's pretty cool. We could try different things. Everything is always about increasing the flow of the show and also increasing the content. And for the time that I'm on, that we need to make it powerful. We need to get just jam-packed information that matters in there. And so what I'll be doing going forward is, and I just want to show you this because everything goes back to the site in one regard. This is my portal to you. So in order to really make that so true and to bring that message home, I think that it's important for us to bring it up, and that you know that on the blog, it's like the news section of my candidacy, that if you go on that blog and you actually see the different sections, here we have everything from American greed problems and causes, and some of these are overlapping, and then what you'll see is every article that pertains to that value, at least in my view at the time when I was writing it. Some of these, there's so many I just give up and I don't put, because you're not going to fill it in all of those. Even though I touch on almost all of those topics in my mind and when I'm making decisions, almost in every regard. So it's really important to touch on these topics. And so each day, what I think is going to be part of the evolution that sticks is that I am going to cover the blogs. Those are the stories. That's what's moving me every day. And I make these blogs. That's why that portal is so important, because I make these blogs and it's all based on the way I'm feeling and the problems that I'm seeing and the truth that comes in. And so I make another blog entry. And so there's so many blog entries, and they're all based on experiences that I'm having and with different people all around the internet. And it is all going back to our attempt to change our lives and to make a life worth living a reality for everybody. And so that we can all experience our dreams of life. Because it's really important to many of us, almost deathly important. In that you could tell people are losing themselves right now. They're not acting like they ordinarily would, not in the past, not like they did 10 years ago. People are really pushing for change. They're demanding it. And you see it in their eyes. You know that they're serious. People are putting their life on this one. And they know that the seriousness is just polarized even. And so what people are doing to really deal with Americans' frustration is there has been, like never before, truth available for people. It's God's plan. So much wisdom is available for people right now. But so is confusion. And most people are actually confused. And that's the scary part. So that is why I'm running, is because I am confident that when we address the underlying issue that is actually greed that's causing all of these other problems, then we know what we must fix. Therefore, the problem is obvious at that point. So the question becomes, why aren't we doing that which we know we must do? Do we not have the bravery? What are we lacking? And we have to address that. And then we'll have some hope. of fixing some of the larger issues like racism and the bigotry that we see all over. And I love God, and I have no problem connecting with my religious friends. I'm sure God would love to use me as a conduit to those folks to let them know that bigotry is wrong. And that we shouldn't judge people when God made their truth so clear for us to see. Unless we are also prepared to say that God is so clumsy and fallible that he just makes mistakes like that. But we know better. We sure do know better. And that's why we're gunning for a future and for a life that's worth living. That's why we're doing these things. And we're asking you not to get triggered. Don't get triggered. Because then you can't make any progress. And here's the thing. I am a happy healer. And what happy healers do first, when they run into truth, they employ that truth in their life and they learn how to make it work for them. So, think like a happy healer. And realize that when you're dealing with one, me, your happy healer, that I'm listening to you. And I want to hear your truth. And I want to hear your logic. And if it outdoes mine, I will switch this instantly, because the most important truth of all, that hangs above all other truths, is to get things correct. It's more important than being right, my fellow Americans. It's more important than the greed that we hang on to, such as hate. It is so important for some of us to hang on to our hate. We feel so strong that we have earned that righteous hate, as we see it almost. But it solves zero problems. It gets in the way. It puts up blockades. And it makes us incapable of seeing beyond it. It blinds us. It gives us triggers. It makes us react to things in a negative way. And it holds you back. And as a consequence, holds us all back. Because there's so many people that are allowing their triggers to dictate what their ears hear and what their hearts are open to. And if that's how you're living your life, well then, my golly, my words are going to haunt you, because you are the cause for your own pain. That you got to stop and be bold and courageous in the truth, so that you can get to things that actually work in your life, that have hope of bringing you happiness. Because that's what's been also fleeting for so many people. And it's not enough that you're happy at the moment. It's not enough. You have to dig in deeper. There's many moments where I'm happy all the time, but I'm worried about for the future still. We have to be. And that is what being a serious grown-up in the year 2019 and saying that I want to live a life worth living, and I want everyone else around me to also have that same opportunity. Then we can raise the spirit of America, and we can unshackle Lady Liberty, and we can show her that she is worthy of freedom and trust and love. Okay, so that's my opening, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was right off the old noggin there. And we have to think that way, with love. Americans are not stupid. Democrats, pivot to a winning platform. That's what this is about. Americans are not stupid. They will give Democrats the House. And that's exactly what they did, didn't they, when they recently elected the Democrats to the House. See how they will act with it. The American people will sit back and just watch, won't they? But they're not going to do it again. And they're not going to do it for the presidency and for the Senate, unless they offer assurances on the border, political correctness, and how it demonizes good people, like the Me Too movement, for example, is great, except for then that it also does bad because it makes people question victims if we go too far. And we realize that. We've seen it with Jussie Smollett. And it hurts victims, not helps them. We just have to do things with love. And then we win in love. And that allows us to see clearly the truth. So you can't be triggered. Even if you don't know why you shouldn't be triggered, just to get to the truth, you have to stop being triggered. Okay, so political correctness has its ugly side, doesn't it? And I think everybody is starting to learn that now. And of course, the people must also feel that you won't actually do what you're saying. And that's a bad precedent to set. To say, well, we'll consider voting for you, but we have to believe you won't do what you just said. That's a bad, bad precedent. I would never run on a system like that. That's flawed. That's completely flawed. My fellow Americans, if you don't see that as flawed, well, then I pray for you to see truth at all. Some of you, you don't deserve to be in my world. Not in the one that I've created for myself, where it's happiness and love, that I could see truth. Unless you realize just how hateful and wrong the wrong ways are. Then you deserve to have that happiness. And that's God's truth. That's not mine. And I say God's truth, and I say science, because that's God's truth too. All of the truth that's proved fact around us is God's truth. Can't you see it? I can see it. Can't you see it? I see it all the time. Smack yourself in the face. Go ahead. That'll hurt. That's God's truth, not mine. If you step off the ceiling, that'll hurt. Off a roof, because that's God's choice. And we do things that work in the truth God has around us, except for in areas where we don't have to pay the penalty right away. That's bad news, because that penalty still has to get paid. You get it? You get it? The penalty is going to get paid. The problem is you're not accepting that. Just deal with your triggers. You'll be a happier person. Why? Because you had to not get angry and have a chip on your shoulder about something? To be resentful over something? You can let go of those things. You can still get mad. Get mad. I get mad all the time. You do it in love. Love is such a greater anger. Love's anger gets things done. But so many people would never even get that loving message unless first, in this greedy system, money has the ruling power. Money does. So if you in this greedy system want to make it anywhere, you first got to start in money. Well, just to get money, you've got to be just as bad as the next guys. And then it becomes so toxic to your mind, and then that becomes the goal. No, we can't make that mistake. I won't. I promise you that. So we are the only candidacy that can actually win Trump. Visit our sections, all these different sections, you could see them. Visit it and get more in line with why this candidacy is the right one. You know, and I do a lot of writing and I talk off the cuff so much, I'll never be able to cover all of the posts in my shows. That's why it's important that you have a relationship with this site. It's more important than even Yahoo or any of them. They're not sharing news, actual news, real news that matters to you. But this site is, and it's my presidential site, right? It's just that transparent. And it's talking about things that matter. So even if you're not about the presidential run, you don't have to be right now. In fact, you probably really would want to see things grow bigger. But you got to be there still. You got to be there still. You can't just not be there because it's not, many million strong. You just be there hovering. There's a lot of people hovering. They're waiting for when it gets big. So many hovering people. But just be there a little bit more than hovering if you can too. Have faith. It takes that. And it takes a visible presence for others to see. So speak up. And do what's right in the moment when it matters. So we're going to click on all posts. These are my posts from today. And on these posts from today, it'll take you to the main page. And you'll get used to this is where you usually first end up whenever you click on blogs. And so it shows you all the different headings. And each one of these headings have many different articles. I write so much because there's so much to share. It's never run out of stuff to really get into. And all of it's truth. Stuff I'll stand to about and debate about. Stuff that I know backwards and forwards. I mean, you got to remember, spending 10 years in a meditation and just getting deep truth in your mind and also studying history and so much, that's so much on the mind. It was there from the same fierceness that I talk to you now is how I studied. You better believe. Oh ja, ich glaube, das Gefühl, alles klar. Ich kann. Und du kannst auch. We can. We all can, and I believe. Und ich habe das Gefühl, alles klar werden. And I really do have a feeling. You go with me on this. Everything's going to be great. You know, these condescending candidates, they couldn't even measure up with me in the real reality of it. Especially when I'm getting the respect that I deserve. Right now, we have to bang through so hard. We have to earn that respect as if we were children, yet we hold the ideas that actually work, that have hope. So let us look into the next article from today. I said a plain bird. No, it's your Happy Healer Superman Evolution. That's a fun article. Check it out. We're not going to get into it right now. Responding to criticism by your Happy Healer for President. Let's go ahead and click into this one. I talk all over the internet, and I like to share that here because there's great learning opportunities. So this, again, is just your headings up here. And then if you take it down a little bit further, you could actually see that you have, I'm going the distance because the truth I talk about, even truthers often miss because they have not purged themselves of the hate in their hearts, folks. And I go on to say this is about my campaign, and I'm responding to this criticism in that box. And here goes. She said, millions are under the demonic consciousness influence. Go here to clear all negative energy from your vessel. She's talking to me. I'm the Happy Healer. And it's amazing, and it removes dark. So you see what she's saying there based on my comments. So I just had to make a response to that. And I'm sure she didn't mean any evil by it. Maybe a little bit of the division that we all experience. It's always about fighting first, isn't it? It's always about, oh, I'm going to take a stand for what I know to be right. But it's also not recognizing that it's more important to be correct than it is for you to be right. Okay? So always remember that. I certainly never forget it. So here I go on to say, thank you. We should all always use and continue to use every coping mechanism that is of the right order, opposite of greed and towards sharing, away from hate, which some are even greedy in their hate. So shameful. And instead towards love, coping mechanisms, and to help people get there. We all need them. It's part of our human condition, but you know when you are on the right path, when in such a polarized country, indeed, the world. But moreover, for me, in the United States of America, I see Democrats and I talk sense into them, and they get mad at me because I am against abortion. I try to talk sense and say, but I am the humanity candidate, and there is nothing right about that for the humanity candidate, our unborn. Then I go to my conservative friends and I say, and they love me, by the way, and I say, yeah, we need to cover everyone. We really do, because humanity matters. We need to get them health care. People are dying on the street, I add. I lost my mom, my brother, and my father, all with no health care. So I know how real that problem is, that people, they matter, and that they're not suffering. But they have been suffering, and they've been suffering for so long, they need health care. Even myself, I'm dying slowly, aren't we? Without health care. And so that's what I say to my conservative friends. And I really believe that in the 21st century that's the only answer that is compassionate, because we can do it. And what I learn is that they too curse me and tell me that I'm wrong. So here you have the Democrats on one side. You have the Republicans and the conservatives on the other. You know? And all I'm doing is talking about love and humanity and things that make sense, a consistent message. That if it was part of your party platform, you wouldn't be so about it. It would make sense because it actually makes the most sense. And it's the reason why you guys argue with each other, because nobody's got that moral high ground. I do. You don't have a moral high ground standing on just a part of a humanity message. You need the full enchilada. Then you could stand tall and high on a humanity message. And by the way, it's also about love. And in this world of greed and hate and the way things are, we can't touch precedent on abortion. We just have to not let things get worse. What we have to do is get humanity and put all of our energy into moving into a happy place. That's my job. So Democrats need not even worry about me touching precedent. I am telling you how I feel. I am being honest about it. And in the moment, my Republican friends know all of that is also true. And we have to do so much to make up for the God's to honest hate in our country. It's tearing us apart. Just have to. You see it. I am a vessel for it, unfortunately. Now, when I go through these articles, I'll just kind of summarize and do like I just done sometimes, because it'll leave you also something to go back and mull over. And the truth of it is, these articles are so full of information. And to go over everything would leave us in a show for so long. And I am busy for so long every day, working so many hours dedicated to you and me, the love and these thoughts. So when you casually think of something and you're so quick to tear me down, I hope you realize this is my life and I'm prepared to debate everybody on every last thing I ever say in a loving way that helps us make progress, because that's what we need to do. And all of those things are just more arguments for me to be your next president. We need somebody that's humble in the truth and that's willing to discuss the truth and to make that their priority. So what we're going to do is go back to some of these other articles and let's see what else we got here. Like I said, the site is just teeming with so much activity. I'm on it every day, adding more and more articles. And I noticed a lot of you do like to check out that site. There is so much there. And that's great. And if everybody who read the site and visits it, because I see that, obviously you believe and you're getting something from this, then also share the information. The tools are there. And I know that the stuff I say is so unique, and sometimes it's even hard to have a dialogue on it, because so many people, they want to immediately break down what you're saying, like that's their goal. Instead, ask questions. Or if you want to break it down, and it'll probably be a debate. Unless you have truth that's so clear for me to see, I will change. That's how it works. So folks, we're going to end the show on that note. I feel like it's been a great show, and we've been on the air now for almost 30 minutes. And really, these are about the length of the shows, 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes lately, they've all been going to an hour. And I'm trying to not make that the normal, because there is a lot to running for president. And I have to make the normal doing the hard work going forward. The most important aspect of my position is to be prepared for being president. It's not to be running for president. And by the way, the other candidates, they'll never have that clarity, so you just better give up on them quick, or you will never get to the promised land. All right, folks, good night. God bless you. See you tomorrow night at 9 p.m.